Traditions which appear or claim to be old are often quite recent in origin and sometimes invented. All invented traditions, so far as possible, use history as a legitimator of action and cement of group cohesion. Remember this quote, we'll come back to it. Hi, my name's John, and I spent last summer in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula learning to speak Yucatec Maya, a living language spoken by about 800,000 ethnic Mayans across the Yucatan Peninsula and into Guatemala and Belize. I learned a lot about Mayan history and culture, and spending as much time visiting and eating with people in their homes as I did climbing pyramids. And I spent a lot of time being really hot and sweaty. A lot of you are probably only familiar with Mayans as ancient Americans who predicted the upcoming end of the world before vanishing, leaving behind temples in the jungle. Well, first of all, no one ever predicted the end of the world, and there was no great vanishing of Mayan people. And in a lot of ways, the culture of those pyramid builders lives on in the culture of modern Mayans. Some cultural markers have been maintained for millennia, thousands of years, like making tortillas, or in Mayan, pacachua. Some belief systems still exist, albeit in somewhat alternate forms, like certain aspects of Mayan cosmology, the belief in east-west, north-south dividers of the world. And other practices and belief systems of Precolumbian Mayans have long since vanished from memory, like the Mayan political system, Mayan writing, or the often talked about blood sacrifices. So let's go back to the original quote. Traditions which appear or claim to be old are often quite recent in origin and sometimes invented. All invented traditions, so far as possible, use history as a legitimator of action and cement of group cohesion. If you'd like to take a minute to think what this quote means in the context of what we're talking about, before I tell you what I think it means, then pause here. I think this asks us to think about the relationship between the modern and ancient culture of Mayan people or people like them. It asks us to think about how those aspects of the older culture, the ancient people, is used to create the modern identity of living Mayan people. Think of it like this. Pretend this is you. It's not, unless you're LeBron James. If you are, congratulations. But either way, you're an adult. You have a concept of your personal identity made up of the things you do, the way you see the world, and the way you see yourself. And then you see a picture of yourself as a little kid. It kind of looks like you. You can prove he's the same person, but that little kid did not do most of the things you do. He didn't see the world the way you do, and he doesn't see himself the way you do. But you still recognize that child as yourself and use the beliefs about what you were like then and what you did as a child as part of your current identity. The way this works for an individual is kind of similar to the way it works for an entire culture or a group of people, like the Mayans. And as archaeologists continue to learn more about Precolumbian Maya, and we gain more insight into knowledge and information that's been lost to time, change, conquest, and discrimination, the relationship between those older aspects of culture and the modern Mayan identity become all the more important, and will help define how Mayan culture progresses into the future. And progress into the future is where I'd kind of like to leave off. This is one of the great Mayan people I met when I was in the Yucatan, Feliciano Sanchez Chan, a Mayan poet. I'll finish up by reading an excerpt from his poem Kaawayak, or Second Dream in Mayan. Inkaya ko chaktiko be winik yokok Tsokin shimbatiko satinsat behilobakton teakat tsib taktin chi. Tomeni nochpin yum tsilobo nik telet ko haiksak bakayok to hatskab in the lobucho. My singing travels throughout the world, opening new trails. I have penetrated the labyrinths of caves, so that the old gods write on my lips the word that the dove spills out over the world on moonlit mornings. That's about all for now. Hach Dios Baltic, Garantaba, take care.